Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear? Is my voice clear to all? Is my screen visible to all? Can anyone please confirm once?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
So today I'll be discussing about Python software foundation, Python versions, Python installation, and Python execution modes. It is a PSF, right? It is a non-profit organization, devoted towards Python community. It was launched, right? It was launched in the year 2001. The main objective, right? To foster the development of Python. To foster the development of Python. In the year 2005, in the year 2005, PSF, PSF received Computer World Horizon Award. In the year 2005, PSF received Computer World Horizon Award. And the president for this, Guido van Rossum. The president for this Python Software Foundation, right? Guido van Rossum, right? The same personality is the founder of Python, the person who invented Python, right? Guido van Rossum is the president for Python Software Foundation. Headquarters, Delaware, US. Official website. Official website of Python. Python.org. Python.org is the official website for Python, from where we can download Python and from where we can see the documentation for each and every Python release and Python versions. Python 1.x version, the first released in the year 1989. Second version in the year 2000. Sorry. The version what we are using currently is 3 version. Python 3 version was released in the year 2008. Latest version of Python. Latest version of Python. Three point 12, right? Python 3.12. 2.x means like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. The first two version was released in the year 2000, right? Latest version of Python, Python 3.12. Stable version of Python. 3.10, right? Stable version is nothing but mostly used version. Next, Python installation. Before I go with the installation, right? Yes. I'll go to the start programs, settings, apps, apps and features. Python 3.12, I'll uninstall. I'll uninstall it and I'll show you again. So Python is going to provide different softwares for different environments. For Windows, for Linux, for Mac OS. For Linux, no need of any special installation, right? By default, Python comes as inbuilt. Python comes as inbuilt within this Linux machine. But in Windows and in Mac OS, we need to download and we need to install, right? So for Windows, Python provides two softwares. If your Windows is 32-bit, you need to support to download 32-bit Python software. If your Windows is 64-bit, you need to download 64-bit Python software. How will you check whether your Windows is 32-bit or 64-bit? Yes. Go to this file explorer. Go to properties. Can you observe? System type, 64-bit operating system. If it is showing 32-bit Python software, if it is showing 32-bit here, you need to download 32-bit Python software. If it is showing 64-bit, now you need to say download 64-bit Python software. Right? An installation was successful. Close it. Now, to download Python, what is the official website for Python? Python.org. Python.org is the official website, right? Python.org is the official website. Okay. Now, Python.org is the official website from where we can download Python. Go to this downloads folder, all releases, you can click. After that, just scroll down, right? Yes. Active Python releases, don't go for it. Scroll down, right. Looking for a specific release, looking for a specific release. 3.12.1. You can see the Python releases from the last 20 years and see all the Python versions from the last 20 years since June 22, 2001. So select this latest version, Python 3.12.1 was released on December 8, 2023. Select the Python 3.12.1, right? Scroll down to the bottom of the page. You can see files. Yes. If anyone working with Mac OS 64-bit installer, Mac OS 64-bit universal installer. For Windows, for 32-bit, for 64-bit. Go for 64-bit, right? Yes. Just if you click, your download is started. Yes, download started here. Just 25 MB of size. It's just 25 MB of size, right? Yes. Once it is downloaded, right? Just open that .exe file, right? .exe file. Click the .exe file. You will get this window. You will get this window. Don't immediately go for installation. First, select Add Python to Path. Add Python to Path. So adding Python to path variable of OS. Go for customize installation. Go for customize installation. Default, you see, like everything gets selected. Everything gets selected. Like documentation, pip, ideally Python test suite and PyLauncher. All this gets selected. Say next. Just say next. So here also nothing to select. It is showing the installation location where it is getting installed. Installation location where it is getting installed by default. The location. See users, Dell, app data, local programs, Python 32. Somewhere it is getting installed in some subdirectories, right? Tomorrow, if you want to locate Python, we need to enter into all the subdirectories, right? Yes. So instead of all this, remove all this. Just I'll keep this mouse before this Python, right? And remove all this. Just within the C drive, Python 312. That's it. Python 312 is the folder, right? Python 312 is the folder. Python 312. Within this Python 312 folder, right? The Python is going by default. You will get this folder gets created, and within this Python 312, Python is going to get installed. So it hardly takes 30 seconds to install Python. Yeah, almost done with that installation, but once it is installed, let us check whether it is properly installed or not. Right. Setup was successful. Close it. At the bottom, search type CMD. At the bottom search panel, type CMD and press enter to go to the command prompt. And just type Python here. Just type Python. Say enter. Python 3.12.1, the Python version. The Python version will be displayed right. And this three-arrowed symbol, the Python interpreter gets open. Here you can type any valid Python statements. Any valid Python statements, and you can interact with Python statement by statement. Okay. Any valid statements. 5 plus 2. X is Ajay. Y is Kumar. X plus Y. X has 10. Y has 4. What is X? What is Y? What is X plus Y? X minus Y. X into 2. X to the power of 2, right? In this way, you can interact, right? Python is working. Quit. Quit to come out of it. So if anyone working in the Linux environment, if they're using Python, you want the latest version of Python to be installed within the Linux machine, then just go with this command, right? Everything we need to install from the root user, sudo apt-app and get install Python 3.12. Okay. Next is like Python execution modes. Python execution modes. Two modes of execution. Python execution modes. Two modes of execution. Yes, two modes of execution. Interactive mode, right? Interactive mode, and second is like batch mode. Interactive mode. Here we directly type. Here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter. And the user can easily interact. Here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Statement by statement. What is the advantage of interactive mode? If it doesn't know about any Python functionality, can just type on this interactive mode and check what response it provides. Based on that, you can analyze it, right? To test the functionalities of Python, to test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. Batch mode. Batch mode, right? Yes. Here we write here we write set of statements. Here we write set of statements within the editors or IDs and save it. We write set of statements within the editors or IDs and save it by using .py extension. And later submit it to Python. We write set of statements within the editors or IDs and save it by using .py extension and later submit it to Python. In the case of interactive mode, you won't create any .py file. Here we will create a .py file and will submit it to Python. What are the various editors and what are the various IDEs where we can write the Python code and execute the Python code? Various editors. Various editors where we can write the Python code. Notepad, Edit Plus, VI, Nano. The first two is for Windows environment, Notepad and Edit Plus, right? And the second two, VI and Nano for Linux environment, right? Here within this, we can create .py file and submitting to Python. And what are the various IDEs? What are the various IDEs? IDEs. Integrated Development Environment. Integrated Development, right? Various IDEs. Like PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider. Python provides many IDEs. It supports many IDEs, right? Spider, Eclipse. PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans. Jupyter Notebook and VS Code. PyCharm is the mostly used ID among all these, right? Mostly used one. Okay, you may ask why this many IDs? Why not one or two IDs? So Python is used for different environments, for data science, for networking, for testing, for animations, for game development, right? So different environments use different IDs. For example, data science, they mostly use Jupyter Notebook, Spider. Even big data use Spider, Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and typical web applications, right? They use PyCharm, VS Code. In this way, different environments use different IDs, right? Yes. I'll be showing you how to work on this IDs, not on one ID, multiple IDs. I'll be discussing how to download, how to install, how to write the code, and how to execute the code within these IDs.
Sir, more clarify about the interactive mode.
Interactive mode.
Yeah,
Interactive
I
mode.
don't understand.
Just now I discussed, right? Go to this command prompt. We type Python, you will get this Python interpreter, you will get. And if you
Okay,
want
okay.
any valid statements, you can type and you can interact. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
What is
I
expressed?
understand. Mm. Okay, sir.
You can keep on interacting statement by statement. For every statement, it gives response. That is interactive mode.
Okay, sir.
But using interactive mode, we cannot develop Python applications. Just we can test the functionalities and to learn Python. And as a beginner, as a learner, you can go with interactive mode. For developing applications, interactive mode won't work. We need to go for batch mode.
Okay.
Developing the first Python application. Developing the first Python application within a editor, example like Notepad. Developing the first Python application within an editor, example like Notepad. Open Notepad and open Notepad and type the following Python statements. Open Notepad and type the following Python statements. Okay, I'll take two values. Up to now, we didn't discuss anything about Python, right? So just I'll take two values, x as 10, y as 4, x as y as 20. Print. I want to perform some kind of arithmetic operations, right? X plus y, print x minus y, x into y, and print x by y. I'll copy this to a separate notepad file. I'll just copy this code to a separate notepad file, right? Okay, save it as sample1.py. I'm saving it as sample1.py extension, right? Yes. So just I written two line x as 10, y as 20. Perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Store it in a notepad and save that notepad as .py extension. So I'm writing here. How did you save as sample1.py? And
Sir,
now,
dot py is mandatory.
yes, save as sample1.py and now submit this file to Python as. So go to this command prompt, just type Python, just say Python and specify the path of the file where it is, path of the file, right? Yes. Within the C drive, right? Python 5 batch. Specify the file name, in which folder it is present, in which drive it is present. Submit the entire path to Python Center. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. Okay, submit this pipe. Yes. Ten plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. Yes. Okay. But here, what is your observation? But here, okay, here we are writing the code. We are writing the code at one place. We are writing the code at one place, then executing at one place means within the notepad you are writing, right? And executing at the other place. And executing at the other place where you are executing within the command prompt. But to write and execute at the same place, but to write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE. To write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE, which comes along with Python installation, right? Writing and executing at the same place, but here The previous example, we have written at one place within the notepad and executing at the other place, command prompt. But to write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE, which comes along with the Python installation, along with Python installation, using which we can write and execute at the same place, using which we can write and execute at the same place. I'll just show you how to open this IDLE, Integrated Development Learning Environment, how we'll open this IDLE and how we can write and execute at the same place. So whenever we install Python, you will get it. In the bottom search panel, once Python is installed, in the bottom search panel, you can type IDLE and say enter. That's it. Python editor, Python IDLE gets opened. So this is the IDLE shell, right? That is one way of opening. Otherwise, if you go to start programs, go to all apps, and if you check where your Python is available, Python 3.12, the first thing what we see, IDLE, right? Just Python shell gets opened. Here, if you want to work with interactive mode, then work with interactive mode, right? But I want to work with batch mode. Say for working with batch mode, say file, new file, that's it. File, new file. X as 10, Y as 20. Write your code and execute the code here itself. X plus Y, X minus Y, X into Y. Print X by Y. Now just save this code and execute the code here itself, right? Save it. Yes. Say as sample2.py. Now run module. Writing the code here itself and running or executing a run module. That's it. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. Okay. Okay. Writing the code here itself and executing the code here itself, right? Yes. Instead of writing at one place, executing at the third place. Later, I'll be showing you how to work on IDEs, how to download IDEs, and how to write the code and execute the code on IDEs after we have done with a little bit of technical content, right? Right. Now, just tell you like introduction to these data types and variables, how exactly they are stored. Python data types and variables. Python data types. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented, right? Data types or variables. Operations. Every organization has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations represented using functions. For example, any organization, for example, take the example of a bank. The bank has got data and operations. Data like customer data, employee data. Customer data like customer name, account number, address, balance, branch. So data represented using data types. Operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operation. For operations, functions. Functions later we discuss. Fine. Now, if you are comparing, right, C or C++ or Java comparison with Python. Python supports dynamic data types. Python supports dynamic data types. Here, for example, x equal to 10. Say int x. Without this data type defining, the variable x can't be created. Y equal to 4.5. Without this data type defining, you cannot create the variable. Z equal to hello. So compulsory, we need to define this int or float or string. But in Python, directly we can say x as 10, y as 4.5, z as hello. In Python, what kind of variable x is means by based on this data type defining, you are saying it x is an integer variable. Y equal to 4. What type of variable y is means based on the data type defined, it is float. Z is what kind of variable means it is string variable based on this data type. But here we won't define any data type. What value you are assigning to x? If you are assigning an integer variable, then if you are assigning integer value, then integer variable is going to get created dynamically during the runtime. Y equal to 4.5. If you are assigning a float value, then a float variable is going to get created dynamically. So in Python, there is a function called a type function to know the type of a variable. Type of x is integer because you have assigned a integer value. Type of y is what type? Float because you have
Float.
assigned a float value. Right? Type of z?
String type.
String because you have assigned a string value. Based upon the value assigned, the variables are created dynamically during runtime. We call them as dynamic data types. To understand much better on this, right, on this data types, I'll discuss 4 cases here. Observe this, what happens internally and how they are stored, how the memory is. Case 1. Whenever you say x as 10 in Python, internally one object gets created. Internally one object with value 10. It is going to have some address. Physical memory location address. It is stored at some address in the memory. What x is storing? What x stores? Don't say x is storing 10. X stores the address. X stores the address. Whenever I say print x, It goes to this address and prints whatever content present at that address. Prints the content, prints the content at that address. Printx means prints the content at that address. What is it? 10. ID of X means if you want to print this address, prints the address of X. Yeah, print a type of X. Type of X to print the data type of X. Prints the data type. What data type it is? Int type. So three things you need to understand. Print X prints the content. Print ID of X prints the address. Type of X prints the data type of X.
Sir, Python always stored the only address.
X equal to 10 means don't think X stores 10. X stores always address. Whenever
Okay.
you say print X, it goes to this address first and prints whatever present at that address. If you want to print the address, there is a function ID of X. Okay. Understood, right? How to print the content, how to print the address, and how to print the data type. Next, case 2. Observe this case 2, right? Now from here on, I want the sessions to be interactive. Everyone try to respond. Just unmute yourself and give a response, or you can type your response in chat also. X is 10, Y is 20. How many objects are going to get created? Everyone. X is 10, Y is 20. How many objects?
Two objects.
2 objects. For 10, 1 object with some address. And for 20, one more object, right? With some address. Yes. Now try to say what is print X, everyone. What is print X?
Syntax
10.
10.
10. It prints, goes to its address and prints 10. We want to print the address ID of X. 103070. We want to print the type of X,
Int.
integer type. Here
Yeah.
print Y. What is the value?
20.
20. Print ID of Y. 104080, right? Print type of Y.
Int also.
Int type. So two different variables with two different values, two different objects with two different addresses. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects with two different addresses. Next, go to case 3. Case 3. X is a 10, Y also 10. How many objects will be created here? Everyone.
2.
Everyone. Try to respond. X value is 10, Y is 10. How many objects?
2.
Observe carefully. Here only one object will be created. Only one object. It's some address that is given to X. This is for first X equal 10, one object it creates.
Okay.
Before creating object for Y, it checks if any object with value 10 is already available in the memory. If it is already available, the same address will be given. X is 10, Y is 10, Z also 10. Don't think like three objects with value 10, 10, 10 will be created. No. If already available, the same address will be given.
You meant to say that it's match the value of.
Observe here, if X value is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. How many objects?
1.
If
3.
X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. Three different objects.
3.
If X is 10, Y also 10, Z also 10. Only
1 object.
1 address.
one address. So this X, Y, and Z, they are going to share the same content to 10. They share the same address, right? So I can say like print X, or print Y, or print Z. They are
But
going
sir, it takes every time another